Probably one of the most iconic and loved characters in the Elder Scrolls franchise has to be the Adoring Fan. So much in fact that Bethesda made the wise decision to bring his character back in Starfield. But you know what the biggest disappointment is with Bethesda? It's not the unbelievable amount of bugs in their games, it's not the pointless re-releases of Skyrim, and it definitely wasn't the time that they tried to introduce paid mods. It's the fact that the Adoring Fan has never been a playable character. That is anyway until today. I have made it possible to play as the Adoring Fan, but the question is, can he beat the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion? So the first problem I had with this challenge is, how do I turn my character into the Adoring Fan? Well, luckily there's this awesome tool called the Oblivion Face Exchange. All you have to do is load a save in the tool and swap the face to any NPC that you want. Then I just had to adjust my character's height with the player.setScale command, and Bob's your uncle. I have turned my character into an irritating little manlet. Now, all NPCs have a health and mana stat in the game. Unfortunately, the Adoring Fan starts with 38 hit points, less than half what you normally start with, so this is something to worry about. Fortunately though, his mana isn't too bad. Sorry, Magicka, I've been playing far too much World of Warcraft. With my character finally set up, it was important to set up some ground rules to not make this challenge, well, too easy. 1. No glitches. 2. No gameplay mods. 3. No exploiting magic effects. I actually have a mod for Oblivion that prevents me from doing this anyway. And no delaying level ups. If I can level up, I will level up. That probably sounds weird, but you can actually make the game easier by sticking at level 1. Now, the tutorial quest wasn't too difficult, but I had to be careful as a single hit from a rat did around 1/5 of my total HP, and the shock spell from the Goblin Witch took away 1/4 of my HP. I spent this time experimenting with using a melee weapon against a ranged weapon. You see, the good thing about playing a Wood Elf is having that early stat boost to your marksman skill, and I decided it was going to be the best approach, as going for a melee build with such low HP was just asking for trouble. I picked the Thief Burst sign mainly for the speed and agility boost. Agility boosts your marksman damage, and speed would help me run away while shooting my arrows. The early 10 boost to luck is also very useful, as luck boosts most of your skills in the background by a small percentage. When I got to the class creator, there's only one class that I could pick, the Commoner. This is because every NPC in the game has a set class just like the player, and the Adoring Fan has the Commoner class. This isn't a class you can select in the menu, but it's easy enough to create with a custom class tool. There are actually many NPC classes that the player can't choose. So as a Commoner, you increase your stealth skills faster, get a bonus to personality and endurance, and your major skills are Armourer, Blunt, Hand-to-Hand, Alchemy, Acrobatics, Mercantile, and Speechcraft. So basically about as useful as Rishi Sunak's Eat to Help Out economical strategy. The one skill that is useful to us here, however, is Alchemy, because if you're smart about using this skill, it can become very overpowered. Wood Elf also get a +10 bonus to Alchemy, so we're going to get Journeyman very quickly. As a Wood Elf, you also get a bonus to your Sneak and Marksman, so I decided our best strategy was to become a sneaky archer who exploits poisons. Once out of the sewers, our first mission was to get gold. You can do this very easily when you start the game by joining the Mages Guild, stealing all of their alchemy tools right in front of their faces, and sell it back to them. I made over 3,000 gold doing this, which is a good starting point. I used this gold to start exploiting alchemy to its true potential. I visited every vendor that sells ingredients to make myself all of the essentials like restore health, magicka, and the most important, damage health poisons. This was very important for our next task because I decided why not just go and get one of the best bows in the game straight away. Not many people know this, but there is actually a secret non-quest log mini-quest in the game in the Gerald Mountains to kill some invisible troll, and it's guaranteed to drop a high damage elven bow with 15 points of frost damage, even at level 1. The only problem was that he's a bigger tank than DJ Khaled. He killed me a couple of times before I managed to exploit a safe spot by getting him stuck on a rock. The fastest method to get him down was poisoning him with my bow and spamming flare. At last we finally got him down, and then it was on to my next trick, which was getting a spell to unlock hard locks and acquiring Black Hand robes without even starting the Dark Brotherhood questline. You see, if you go to Jagasta's house, he has a barrel that's a very hard lock, but if you actually manage to get into it, you can get the Black Hand robes, which is a huge damage to my morale.
Better drink my own pee.
But seriously, this was a 15-point bonus to my marksman and sneak skill, which will come in very useful. And that was that. My character was finally tuned up to 11.
The numbers all go to 11.
I did my best to counter the fact that I'm starting with a 50% health nerf and a useless starting class. I entered my first Oblivion gate and the scams didn't provide too much of an issue, as I can dodge their fireballs and just continue to shoot them down with my arrows. Wow, he's already dead. I never had him die this soon actually. Rather than playing the game properly, I decided to save time by swimming in lava, which, to be honest, if you use my very special health potions and spam a healing spell, it's not very difficult. From here the encounters got a little more challenging, especially when I had to deal with multiple enemies like the Dremora. It felt like if I wasn't careful I would just end up with half my HP randomly disappeared from my screen. So I really had to focus on evading my enemies. This got harder and harder as I worked my way up the sigil tower, as the rooms obviously got smaller. But my poisons and sneak attacks came in very useful here, and I got through it. I shot the sigil tower key dude down before he could even speak to me in his highly sound edited voice, and before we closed the Oblivion gate I decided to use the save and reload trick to get the sigil stone that I wanted. So here's a little trick. Quick save. We're just going to keep doing this until we get the effect we want. You see, the Frostworm bow only has 21 uses before it runs out of charge, so I made the wise decision here to get the Soul Trap effect on a different bow to feed power into my Frostworm bow. The second highest damage bow you can get at level 1 is a black bow, so I quickly went to Telepy near Leowin to pick one up. Before we did that, obviously we did have to rescue Sean Bean, have an argument with my chat about whether it's socially acceptable to wear jogger bottoms to go to Tesco. They also kind of make your ass kind of look alright. You know what I mean? What do you guess? And finally, join the Blades. Next is probably one of my favourite quests in the game, the Path of Dawn. This is one of the greatest introductions to Oblivion. You are taken away from the path of mindless action and killing, and actually have to do some investigation work instead. When you're doing this quest for the first time, it is challenging to figure out how to obtain the third copy of Mankar Cameron's Mythic Dawn series. There are multiple different ways you can go about completing the quest, and it introduces you to the importance of persuasion in the game to attain information and make quests easier. Although the minigame could have been better, it's a great RPG feature that was unfortunately lost during the simplification design mindset very characteristic of future Bethesda RPGs. The disposition stat, which is the number on the persuasion wheel, is affected and affects so many background mechanics in the game that it would just take too long to explain. But for instance, orcs start with a low speechcraft and personality stat. It kinda makes sense in the lore. And also, certain races have a penalty of disposition points towards other races, because again, certain races just hate each other for lore reasons, like how Dark Elves absolutely despise Argonians and would much rather enslave them instead. But anyway, enough nerdy stuff. I could probably literally talk about Oblivion for hours in a single podcast with myself. Anyway, the best way to complete this quest is to wait for Gwyneth to buy the book and tell him that the cult killed the Emperor, and he'll just give the book to you. You can then question him on information on where he is meeting a Mythic Dawn cult member for the 4th book. I infiltrated the cult with Boris and killed the leader with a sneak poison attack before he could even finish a sentence, and then owned the other guys by shooting them very cleverly through the gate. You really gotta act quick on this quest, otherwise Boris can actually die. And because I played Oblivion way too much in my life, I knew exactly where to go and what to do to find out the location of the Mythic Dawn hideout. But interestingly, I discovered something new about the game that I didn't know, and it has to do with the next quest, Dagon Shrine. Usually you talk to a Dark Elf dude and you give him all of your inventory. Well, you don't actually have to do this. You can just go in bald as brass and fight your way to the shrine. You see, in my first attempt, I did the quest normally and utterly failed. I don't think the quest would have been possible doing it normally because I have absolutely no armour and one single silver dagger in my arsenal. And remember, I've got half as much health as I normally would. So I was literally just getting one-shotted all of the time. The difficult enemy here is definitely Mankar Cameron's daughter, Rumour, who always has a high level staff equipped. I put my best poison on my bow and got her down with a good sneak attack. Oh, nice, the one shot. Luckily, many of the adepts on this quest don't summon the mythic Dorm armor and could be one-shotted by my bow. We smashed the most boring quest in the game under 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Sean Bean had figured out the first step to create a portal to Mankar Cameron's paradise, which rather unfortunately involved sacrificing a Daedric artifact. Now, most speedrunners go and kill Umbra by trapping her in a poison vent, spamming flare.
Why is she making those noises? You know. Once you learn a thing or two about women, you'll understand.
But I thought, with my reduced health pool, it was just going to be a recipe for disaster because she would definitely be a mob who could just one-shot me, and she's faster than me driving to a party with goth girls. So instead I decided to do Shir Gorov's quest and sacrificed a Wabberjack. I know this quest off by hand, it's kind of funny to terrorise a deeply superstitious and religious community by melting cheese and poisoning their sheep. The grand finale of this quest is Shir Gorov raining down loads of burning dogs from the sky. I think a lot of people wonder why Oblivion is a 15 category game since it kind of looks very goofy sometimes, but little moments like this are the reason why. You actually have to select on Twitch that you are playing a game intended for mature audiences. I used my lava jumping cheese strats to turn the Brumagate quest from an hour quest to a 10-minute one, and rather surprisingly, Bird handled it like a boss. Everyone else died though. Wait, where did they all end up? They're all dead already. The next quest, Blood of the Divine, was fairly easy and uneventful, but one problem I had was inventory space. But here's another great tip for you. The pirate ship at the Imperial Waterfront can serve as a makeshift free player home, as all of the containers inside the captain's cabin are non-respawnable, and the bed is usable. You just have to kill the pirates defending it, which also doesn't count as murder since the mobs are considered enemies. So it's a very easy way to just get a really cool small playhouse. Now, one quest I was definitely worried about is Miskaran for one very vital reason. The Lich end boss, Morimath. This gave us quite a bit of grief. The most problematic element of this fight wasn't his high damage destruction spells or the fact that he summons 2 higher level zombie guardians with extremely high health pools, but his very irritating burden spell. You see, the Adoring Fan doesn't start with many strength points, and therefore his carry weight is terrible. It's literally half of what it potentially could be when you start the game, meaning that this burden spell stuck us in place, while we got continuously smacked in the face by zombies and died several times. A strategy had to be devised. Firstly, I made a fortified strength potion to counter the burden effect, a frost shield spell to reduce my damage taken. Thirdly, I had to get a big sneak attack on the Lich, which failed, and somehow kill the Lich first while avoiding the zombies, since he's going to be the one that gives us the most grief, as he can do ranged damage. I didn't dodge. Okay, the burden spell isn't a problem, because of our strength spell. Oh my god. He does a lot of damage with that spell. A lot of damage. I now have no... He's basically permanently able to use that burden spell. So I'm going to be stuck soon. If I don't kill him fast enough, I'm going to be stuck again. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck again. And we cheese it with potions. We cheesed it with potions. But now I still can't move. Wait, no, I can move. I can move now. Fortunately, I was able to tank the zombies by using the close and reopen inventory trick to continuously use more weak health potions than you normally can, and we finally got through it. And now it was time to endanger an entire city of innocent people by luring the Daedra to attack Bruma by using Sean Bean as bait. This was another quest I was worried about, since no matter your level, you have to fight high level Dremora mobs. And skipping enemies by running past them is only effective to a limit, since they will eventually phase through into your area and catch up to you. Without the Frostworm bow and my poisons, this would have been a drag. Probably impossible, to be honest. Luckily at this point my sneak had increased to Apprentice, which meant that I now had triple damage bonus on my sneak attacks. We closed the gate and saved the day, returning to an absolute shocking massacre of Blades, Bruma guards, Militia and Dremora. In fact, only Martin and one Militia dude remained somehow. There's just one dude left clapping. You see, if you don't do the Allies for Bruma quest, the friendly NPCs here get absolutely owned, and for some reason Bethesda decided that poor Boris and Joffrey are no longer important characters, so they will also die. You see, people say that the Allies for Bruma quest is pointless, but at least the important characters have a better chance of surviving, and you get 7 sigil stones to enchant your gear with. You also get a really cool, unique enchanted weapon by completing the Aid for Korra questline. We finally opened the portal to Mangard Cameron's Paradise, which, when I looked at it, something I hadn't realised before, this is my theory anyway, I think it's supposed to represent the Somerset Isles, which does make a lot of sense since Mankar is a high elf. As we enter, we are welcomed with a droning on lecture about destiny before we meet Kafutet, a Dremora who respects us for killing all of his mates. He gives us an errand quest to serve him, but rather than do that I thought I'd just kill him to save time. Should we put one of our big daddy ones on him? Ah, oh my god. No, it's not okay. I saved one of my big daddy poisons with both damage health and fire damage on it. Inside the flooded grotto, we quickly realised that the word paradise was definitely false advertising. This place is basically just one big torture chamber. There's a number of different ways you can actually move forward on this quest. I decided to pick the most peaceful route so that I could acquire a powerful spellcasting follower, Eldermill, to help me with the last boss battle that I was dreading. Instead of being lectured by Mankar, I decided to go straight in for a sneak attack with one of my big daddy poisons, recharge my Frostworm bow and equip the highest damage arrow that I had, and I missed. On my second attempt, my poisons just rotted his health down, while my companion finished him off. I quickly looted him and his daughter's staff once again for the gold and got out the dodge. Luckily when you kill Mankar, it's kind of a similar scripted effect to closing a sigil tower, or an Oblivion gate, so literally everyone else dies. On our return, Sean Bean had decided that it was a good idea to dress like a pimp, and it was on to our quest to light the dragonfires. Unfortunately when I... Who's calling me right now? Hello?
Hi, it's me.
You're right.
No,
I'm recording a video.
Oh, right. Well, I've been told that I've got to ask you to pick me up because Julie's picking Beth up, but she's only got a 2-seater car, so I can't get...
It's all over.
What?
Okay.
What did I do? Is that because I shot Boris? Unfortunately, when I entered the Imperial City, I got arrested, and since my Black Hand robes were stolen, I was now on the last quest in the game, ball-ass naked. but luckily I did at least have Mankar Cameron's robes. And this was particularly problematic when you consider that the last quest is essentially you just getting swarmed by an army of fast-moving Dremora, which was precisely what I didn't want when I have such a small health pool. But I did have a plan for this. You see, I just saved all of my invis potions for this moment, drank them all, and just ran past every single enemy. And luckily, Sean Bean and the other dude basically just phased into every new area with us. For our amazing ingenuity, we were rewarded by watching Sean Bean do what Sean Bean does best. This guy's just chilling and watching. Shame they didn't have more moments like this in the game, because it's fucking awesome. Especially the E and B. Shadows are really messed up though. So there we have it. The Adoring Fan can in fact beat Oblivion. This was a really fun challenge, and I hope I managed to show just how diverse and creative Oblivion is as an RPG game. Even with such penalties and such a bad starter class that didn't serve us apart from giving us a boost to our alchemy skill, we were able to intelligently use the game's systems to make our character powerful enough to beat the game. Poisons are very overpowered in this game, particularly when you combine a damage health effect with an elemental damage effect. And that's not to mention when you combine that with a weakness to poison destruction spell effect, but maybe we can talk about that at a different time. Plus, having a soul trapping weapon is a godsend to continuously recharge your enchanted weapons. It's definitely the first thing that you need to get yourself grabbed hold onto when you close a sigil tower. Because getting a soul trap effect normally is very complicated. You need to get Apprentice in Mysticism, you need to get a soul trap spell, then you need to complete the bloody Mages Guild recommendation quest to eventually make your own spell. It's very complicated. You're better off just getting it on a sigil stone. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. If this video sees any success, the challenge that I'll do next is to see if Rufio can get his revenge and defeat the Dark Brotherhood. But anyway, ciao.